Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. Why does the camera look so high, doesn't it?
A little bit.
I always get it, where it should be, and it's just never there. You know what I mean? What's up, guys? It's Saturday. Welcome to the Haunted Huddle, also our second podcast. Does it feel weird?
Yes.
Does it feel weird like we're official now, guys?
Round of applause.
Yeah. It's super official. Okay, hopefully Kat is loud enough. If she's not, let me know and we'll adjust volume. But today we are talking about an interesting topic that I've actually never heard of. This was Kat's idea. So have you heard of the Haunted Vault before this?
I think I have, just in passing of researching weird things. So.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't gone into it extensively though.
Chanel's the one that's always going down the dark hole. You actually kind of went down the dark hole last night with this.
A little bit.
And you got kind of frustrated.
Yeah.
Because you're the kind of person that thinks that you need to memorize everything. Piece of information.
Yeah.
And Kat strictly told me there's a lot of information and don't get overwhelmed.
Immediately, what does Chanel do?
Gets overwhelmed. She's like, I can't. She looks at me, she's like, how are we supposed to memorize all of this? I'm like, well, you're not gonna. You know what I mean?
That's not what you do.
So, Kat, tell me how you found this topic. And just in case, I want you to kind of talk for a second so that we can hear your volume in case we need to turn you up. Okay. So that we can get feedback from everybody. But you came up with this idea first, so where did you hear about it from, and how did you hear about it?
I did. I've heard of the Black Vault through the grapevine of friends, just chatting about awkward or weird, sayings of the internet. And at first, before further researching it, I at first thought the Black Vault was like the Black Vault of government documents. So they had something called Black Vault that was strictly owned by the government. But through research, I ended up finding out that it was actually somebody named John Greenwald that created this literal internet database full of now over 2 million declassified documents from the government regarding UFOs, paranormal stuff, cloning, mind control, really, really weird things. And he had been John Greenwald Jr. is his name. He had been collecting this data and this information through the Freedom of Information Act, and in 1996 is when he started at the age of 15. And now it's grown into this giant database. They're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they have a YouTube channel. They also have a podcast, they have a Patreon, they have a newsletter. So they even have discussion forums about all of the documentation that's on their website. So it's really, really, really interesting.
And it's shocking to me that even I did, if they've been around this long, how did we not know about this?
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's very strange, and I kind of poked around with the website. So if you're curious of what it is, first of all, obviously search the Black Vault, obviously. But their actual website is https://www, obviously, theblackvault.com. So it's super easy to remember. And I poked around with the website a little bit too. Now, I'm going to post the website in Restream, so it sends it out to everywhere that we're streaming from. But Chanel, you talk a little bit because you were going through the notes. So basically, when we do these, all of our stream topics, we will go through and we will set up notes so that all of us can get on the same page of what we're researching and what we're talking about. You were going through the notes, Chanel, and you saw John Greenwald, and you actually have studied him.
Well, not him. I actually studied one of the things that he actually has included in the website, which is MK Ultra. I did a paper, a school paper on that. And it was a really, I guess you could say, kind of disturbing thing to get into. Yeah.
I feel like all of these are actually kind of disturbing topics, you know what I mean?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
So, okay, I'm sorry if Kat's echoing. Remember, she is, in New Hampshire. It's a little far. It's a little far from us. She's literally on the other side of the United States. Shout out to social media and streaming that allows us to be able to do this now.
Right.
But so basically, let me give you the gist of my definition of what the Black Vault is, okay? The Black Vault is basically a website where this person, John Greenwald, has compiled thousands and thousands and thousands of documents. And so there's actual case files that he has received from the government. So they are legitimate, real case files. And they're legal documents. And what is this? It's under some sort of like statute. What is the statute called? Do you remember what it's called, Kat?
Yeah, the FOIA, so it's the Freedom of Information Act. Under this, law, we can archive documents from the government. It's public information.
Right.
So he really milked that for all it was worth because, in his mind was we should have access to this information.
Right.
And, who doesn't love a good conspiracy theory? But when you have actual documentation that you can get from the CIA, FBI that's legal through the Freedom of Information Act, he was like, absolutely. So started posting it everywhere.
And so, in other words, he's legally, not illegally, legally obtained all of these documents through this Freedom of Information Act, meaning that the information collected for the things he has is legally accessible to the public. Clearly, it must be a little bit hard to get to, considering he's the only one that has created a database like this, right? And so basically he has this database of all of these case files, and I'm talking like some major things, okay? So I'm just going to talk about quickly some topics before we like jump into a black hole here. There are case files that he's obtained from Nazis in Germany, right? When they were possibly practicing black magic during the times that these poor people were being basically tortured on the concentration camps. There's information regarding all kinds of UFO information. I mean, like, literally, there's so many. You'd have to, like, pick a specific date. Specifically, though, there is Roswell reports. Oh, my God. Doomsday information. Apparently, there were case files where they were obtaining, in the 50s, psychics who could, quote, remote view and or do mind control. And these case files, basically, they're real. I looked through the database. Basically, at the time of the 50s, this was after the Cold War, obviously, they were trying to hire psychics to come in and attempt them. Like, first they started studying their mind control and their abilities. And then they were hoping to either train more or hire more to come in and work for the government and like the armies or whatever. And then they could possibly remote view to see like where an attack was coming from an enemy, or mind control like the enemy. Really weird stuff. That studying, though, it appears to have stopped with the case files in the 90s. Does that sound right, Kat?
Yeah, it was called the Stargate Project. And it went on for a while, and it was that Stargate Project was like a sub project name, like code name, pretty much established by the U.S. federal government to investigate claims of psychic phenomena and potential military, situations. So it was really, really strange.
Right. Someone just asked about the Denver airport. So that information, I haven't seen any in there. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I believe that the Denver airport tunnels connect to NORAD, which is in Colorado Springs. Blake actually worked on the Carson Army base in Colorado Springs, and I got to go there, but he was often in the field on Fort Carson, and he would drive by the lanes that would head up to NORAD. But I don't want to get too off topic, but yeah, I think that the tunnels from DIA do connect to both military bases in the Springs, which is Air Force and Army. But now back to the Black Vault. There's all kinds of different things. And here's the other thing that I don't want to confuse people with. So I went on there and like poked around for quite a while. I really appreciate the actual like government files, like the case files, because I feel like that is like cold hard evidence. But they also have other stuff on there, which I found interesting. So 2018, apparently there was a woman that supposedly was on a tour at the Stanley Hotel, so this sort of piqued my interest. And she claimed that she'd caught the same apparition in several photos. So basically what they did on the website of the Black Vault was they asked for the original photos, and then they kind of went through and like I'm not sure if they used like some sort of software to determine if it was like a faked photo or not, but they were able to determine those photos were not faked, and she actually did catch an apparition. So they basically have access to software, sort of like Ghost Adventures original episode where like the brick was being thrown from Goldfield,
Yeah.
and they took it to that video editor who like then depicted it and tore it apart,
Yeah.
and was able to determine like it was not like string attached. Like I think they used like thermal imaging and stuff. So they did the same thing with photos. So I guess what I'm trying to say is they have the hardcore government files, which to me is like really cool, credible evidence. But then they also take other people's sort of like the Stanley Hotel, I guess, evidence, and they kind of like depict the evidence. There's another section. I mean, like, literally, if you go in the Black Vault, like, you could spend hours there if you're, like, a paranormal enthusiast. They have cryptozoology sections where they literally have case files on, like, and I'm talking case files, government case files, on people who have called for, like, chupacabra sightings and, like, Bigfoot sightings and, like, stuff like that. Now, there was something weird that happened to Kat. Remind me. I think you said in the 90s, like the late 90s, early 2000s, the CIA found out about this whole, the Black Vault being developed with John.
Yes.
And they did some stuff, so I'm going to let you share that. I know another person said there's an echo with Kat. Yep, we're going to have an echo. Remember, she's not here in Vegas with us. I think the audio is pretty good this time, so I'm sorry. But go ahead, Kat. Tell me again where we're at as far as the CIA got involved and then a bunch of case files disappeared.
Yeah, absolutely. So John Greenwald, the owner of Black Vault, who started the whole thing, he's been really transparent in discussion forums on the Black Vault. You can go ahead and look it up, about the fact that from 2004 to like 2014, there were case files that were disappearing regarding space anomalies and UFOs and like intelligent life, and it was just gone.
So
Like,
literally
like
10 years of files disappeared.
Yeah, and obviously there was other documentation for other things, case files and such like that, but it was very specific. And he's still to this day trying to figure out where it went, why they got rid of it. That just seemed very odd.
So at some point, the CIA, obviously, is the quote, the government got on like some sort of back end of the internet onto his website and removed 10 years of UFO footage, evidence, case files, everything.
Yeah, it must have been pretty solid if they were having to burn files like that for 10 years, know. But he, and John made an even, I'm looking at my notes here. He started becoming really well known because obviously the Black Vault started coming out into the public, and he does have an IMDb, and he is listed as a producer and writer for a bunch of shows on History Channel, regarding UFOs, doomsday, and the universe and stuff. So he knows his stuff for sure.
Right. Yeah, I'm really interested. So I found him online. I found one Twitter profile for him. It doesn't look like he's very active. He was born in 81, so he's only a few years older than me, like five years older than me. So that's interesting. He's producer, writer, like you said. What did you think was interesting about this, Chanel? I mean, so Chanel gets on last night and we're like, okay, let's get on the Black Vault.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Let's go over the notes. Let's get on the website, poke around a little bit. In fact, I'm actually going to show, Kat, give me just a second. I'm going to pull up the Black Vault website.
Okay.
Kat's in the corner, so you can still see her a little bit. So this is the Black Vault website, and literally, I mean, there's 2 million
there's so much
documents on here.
So much to go through. It's like you would never be able to. You'd have to pick one thing one day and really extensively research it.
Right. So you went on last night with me. We both were like kind of doing our thing. So they literally have it broken down. So there's
Right.
like aliens right here, animal mutilations, which is obviously related to crypto. Cryptozoology, they have solved crypto cases, whatever that means. I'm not sure if I can go down that black tunnel. Ghosts, angelic, good, demons, evil. We found some cool
I thought
stuff.
that was the. Wait, what was it? Something that related to the military?
The Iraq?
Like, yes,
You
I
looked
thought
that
that
up.
was interesting.
So there is there's a bunch of case files regarding men or soldiers going to Iraq, specifically Iraq, and obviously Blake has been to Iraq, and they get like weird attachment / demonic possession that has been reported that they have case files on. And some people were saying like they'll take pictures and they'll see like dark black angels around them. We saw some of those photos.
Yeah.
Some of them I do think are credible.
Yeah.
Some of them I don't. Some of them I'm not so sure you should jump to conclusions and say that they're a demon. But they did. But they did. And here's a few reasons. I was reading actually through this. And one thing that stuck out to me that I didn't think of is, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't have a lot of like biblical knowledge.
Yeah.
Some guy was on here talking and saying that if you see an apparition in a like video or in a photo, they're apt to say that it's a demonic because in the Bible there's something that says that anything that appears as like a loved one or someone that you know is a demon. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
He was talking about that. So I guess that kind of makes sense now. If you see a lot of like the TV shows that people automatically go, oh, it's a demon, people are going to automatically assume an apparition that you're seeing as a demon, which I don't agree with. Do you?
No.
Especially being like an energy reader and like being in locations, I don't think it's demonic. There were a couple of photos that we saw of soldiers in Iraq they claimed were demons. The one we saw, I don't think it was demonic, but it looked like someone from a very old time, right? And I'm talking like possibly even biblical times. You have to remember like Iraq is old. We're talking like Mesopotamia times, right? Like I've studied Mesopotamia while I was in like history. They cover it sometimes with like sociological aspects of like comparing now to like then. Now Mesopotamia is like old. Like I don't even know how old Mesopotamia is. I'm gonna actually look it up. Not that I'd be able to. Mesopotamia. I probably didn't even spell it right. Mesopotamia was, there was a river system which basically consists of Iraq, Iran, Syria, Jordan, like that sort of whole area. And that was like literally, you're talking about like the start of civilization. Like you're talking about like OG civilization. And it was before, I think it was before like, part of Europe kind of like broke off and all that stuff. You're talking about like 539 BC era, like 150 BC is when Mesopotamia was under control. So long story short is, I was asking Blake about it because I said, okay, Blake, you don't have a lot of people that you get to talk to that have like been to Mesopotamia.
Right.
Right? And like we have somebody living in our house that lived in like Mesopotamia for a while because he also lived in Afghanistan. So Iraq, I mean, they're all old, but I think Iraq is more of the area of where it was like core Mesopotamia. And I was like asking Blake, he lived there for like 9 or 12 months, I think, was his deployment. And I said, what did you think about it? Like, how is the energy there? He's like, it feels like a different world, is what he said. And he's not just talking like, to us, it's a, quote, third world country. He's not talking about that. He's talking like the energy of the land, quote verbatim Blake, is effing old. Effing old AF is what he said. And he said he literally got to go to some of the shrines that were from Mesopotamia. Like, you're talking like thousands and thousands and thousands of years old.
Yeah.
And he said you can tell, he told me you can tell the difference in the land of a good area versus a bad area. And he does think there was probably magic practices. Remember, Christianity originated from paganism as well. And then where did paganism come from, right? Like, what was before that?
Yeah.
And obviously we know, even with watching like Killer Contact the other night with the Mayans, everyone was into human sacrifices at some point, right? So you never know what's going on with the land. You never know what their intentions are. But Blake would say there would be really, really dark areas where you just knew it. He also stumbled upon many mass graves that were from like Saddam Hussein, which obviously I'm assuming that would create even worse energy, as if it's not bad enough.
Right.
Then he would go to some of the holy temple areas, and he's like, you can feel it's very good and very, very old. Like, he would always describe the energy of like walking through mud, because it's just been there for thousands and thousands of years. I just found it shocking that they had actual vault cases on these like demonic attachments that people claimed that they were getting from their soldiers, that were getting from being in Iraq. Did you find that crazy?
It was like, that would be wild to research, and to even like go there and feel that as well, those energies and those like very ancient.
Well, and you would have to be, unfortunately, the only way to do it is to be a soldier, because I don't think those are areas that Americans can travel to anyways. I think it's shut down for traveling.
Right.
But he'd said Afghanistan felt similar, but Iraq was much, much worse, much heavier. So that was an interesting topic I was not expecting to see on the Black Vaults. Did you guys? Like,
no.
Kat, you were even shocked by it too, weren't you?
Mm-hmm. Very shocked.
You called me and I was on the phone with you, and you're like, you're not even going to believe this. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And she's like, there is case files on demonic possession from Iraq. And I was like, what?
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was huge.
But I'm not shocked by it either. I'm not shocked by it.
Yeah.
No. not at
So
all.
what's another one that you like talking about? You like the whole Stargate project, Kat, right? Because you're like into
I
the
did.
psychic thing and the mind control. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I like that one, and I liked Cultura as well. So that was, But the Stargate project was the umbrella code name for established by the U.S. government to investigate claims of psychic phenomena and potential military and domestic applications, particularly remote viewing. These projects were active from around the 1970s through about 1995, and they are primarily handled by the DIA and the CIA. They followed up early psychic research done at the Stanford Research Institute. And after many years of fighting, the CIA had finally compiled most of the research material gathered during the program of the Stargate project. And they literally have, 89,901 pages of research material.
That's ridiculous.
Regarding that. Like, that's huge.
They think but other than UFOs, this is the second biggest document, like, compile that they have. And that's because the case was going on for, like, what, did you say 20 or 30 years or something?
Yeah, yep.
That's crazy. So basically, in other words, to make it easier for anyone to understand, the government was putting money into physically researching psychics and remote viewing, and there is documentation that has been put on the Black Vault to back it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Which weirds me out. So in other words, when police hire psychics to help with like cases, it's because they've known, like, in the higher branches of government that some psychics are actual legitimate psychics, right? They're acknowledging that paranormal phenomena does exist without acknowledging it.
Which is awesome.
Right. So they're acknowledging it via document that no one else should find other than John Greenwald. Right? Okay, keep going. Sorry, Kat.
Gosh. Yeah, no, it's fine. The other, so that was pretty much just like the what the Stargate project was about. The other one is Cultura, so that's the research paper that Chanel was working on or had worked on. Project Cultura, I'm looking at my notes here, sometimes referred to as the CIA's mind control program.
Oh, it's just so you know.
It's MK Ultra. So like the MK,
Was the code name given to an illegal program of experiments on human subjects designed and undertaken by the United States Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA. Experiments on humans were intended to identify and develop drugs, alcohol, and procedures to be used in interrogations and torture in order to weaken the individual to force confessions through mind control. So it's pretty messed up.
So it's basically a program teaching someone how to control human beings by breaking them down.
Yeah, it's a lot of the times they'll use like trauma-based mind control tactics, so like things that will basically compartmentalize the brain and split it So.
But I'll also say that I know from talking with Blake, that's very common in the military.
Yeah.
Because what they'll do when they get like an enemy, and they obtain the enemy, they usually have an interrogator come in, and then that interrogator is the quote mind controller. For example, what's that weird haunted house that you talk about in Tennessee?
Perfect example. McCamey Manor.
McCamey Manor, okay,
Exactly.
which we talked about it because we watched the Dark Tourism on Netflix.
Yes.
It's on Netflix. If you don't know what we're talking about, look up the series on Netflix called Dark Tourism. It's a guy from Australia that goes to this manor house in Tennessee. Basically, you go in, you're on a wait list for literally years.
Yeah, there's like thousands of people on this wait list right now.
Why would you want to?
Which is psychotic to me, because why would you want to put yourself through something like that?
Well,
like,
he claims it's the extreme adrenaline junkies.
Yes, but
Sorry,
they
I can't search my topic.
All right. Surrey's talking to me now. It's fine. Surrey, have a seat. Anyway.
There's waivers that you sign, and in the waiver he literally basically confirmed that he uses MK Ultra style tactics.
Which he is ex-military.
Yes.
He's I think he was like a Navy SEAL or something, or ex-Navy, I can't remember. And so he's practiced these.
Right.
So he knows the quote mind control tactics. And once again, Dark Tourism, if you want to even watch the guy who's running it, you need to get on Netflix and watch it because it creeps you out. The guy is a veteran now. He was in the Navy. He is a pro interrogator that does mind control. Blake watched that episode with us.
Yeah.
And he was telling us a lot of knowledge behind him. He says, oh yeah, there's guys like this that go in with the enemy, like whoever's been captured, and they interrogate them till they break down so that they... and sometimes that includes physical interrogation, which is what he's doing at McCamey. What's it called?
McCamey Manor.
McCamey Manor, which is dysfunctional. He'll like in these people that go in, they sign this like 100-page release form that says he's not responsible essentially for their death.
Right.
If they bleed out, if they die, if they stop breathing, if they choke,
seizures,
he's not responsible for it.
Mm-hmm.
And people do it.
People do
because
it
they like the adrenaline behind it. Anyway, Blake told me that Blake has been on like a super mental health, pro mental health thing, and that's because obviously he did do 2 deployments as a combat medic. He's the quote healer, so he did sadly see a lot of people not make it, and so he was watching this guy that's the quote mind controller, saying that he thinks that he doesn't want to heal as a veteran and heal his PTSD from the mind control that he's had to do. So he chooses to continue to practice it, and it sort of keeps his PTSD monster at bay because he doesn't have to quit doing it. Just because he's a veteran out of the army, he never had to quit doing it. Now he's able to like mind control and torture people the same way he did while he was in. And people love it, which to me is like really dark. It's like way too dark.
There was a video, actually, a YouTuber that I watched made this, is making this series about McCamey Manor, like
really?
The survivors of McCamey Manor.
Yeah.
Wow. So there was a girl who basically, like, they shaved her head and all this, like, crazy stuff where one of the actual, like, actors in this haunt like stopped what they were doing to this girl because he thought that it was too far, and he was even a veteran.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, I agree. Well, Blake said that's typical of what they do with like criminals from war or whatever you want to say. But in other words, the MK Ultra thing, if you're wanting to look into it with the Black Vault, I highly suggest first watching that episode on Netflix and then referring to the case files, because I feel like you'll be able to match the two and understand that, in my opinion, mind control works.
It's a good, that show is a good modern day example of mind control. I mean, it still goes on. Mm-hmm. You still have, like, programming.
Right.
Like, why do you think they call TV programming?
Right, exactly.
Sure.
Right, subliminal messages type of thing. But people, I think essentially when you first hear the term mind control, people are like, pfft.
Yeah.
They think of it like you're in the World of Warcraft with your, like, What's
like X-Men.
Wait, is it like I think it's the warlock that does it, or the priest that mind controls? Like, no, not quite the same thing. Not quite the same thing. Like, literally, you have to be in the room with them and you're mind controlling them. You know what I mean? Type of thing.
Yeah.
But that was really dark to me. But the first thing I thought of was it does exist.
Yeah.
It is real. And we have the place in Tennessee to vouch for it.
Right.
So it's not a joke.
And documents.
And documents.
On the website, there's actual documents that this went on.
Yep.
And what's
I'm
even
sure
worse,
it's still going on, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
It's probably just silence.
There's
It's been
so
quiet.
much conspiracy around it. And it's also, it goes into as far as celebrities that
Right.
have had it done.
What show did I say someone asked? It was Dark Tourism.
Yeah.
On Netflix. And it's with I'm typing it right now, Australian host. Did I spell that right? I'm going to spell Aussie. Aussie host. It's entered. Which he couldn't handle it, by the way. He was in the mind control. They blindfolded him. They put like a weird like mouthpiece in him. He had like a bunch of weird things on his body. They basically break you down and then like poke the bear. Which Kat literally in her notes has like stabbing and like poking. Literally.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then in this episode on Dark Tourism, he literally dunks people in water till they can't breathe.
Yeah.
One of the girls in this episode comes out like bleeding from her head, and didn't you find it weird? Like after he's mind controlled her, and like it's almost like he got off on it.
Yeah, it's like a fetish.
It's like his kind of fetish of like torturing a human being.
Yeah.
She comes out and he lets him shower and stuff. Remember, he doesn't charge for this. And she comes out from the shower and she's like really quiet and like shivering because she's cold. And he's like, "So are you mad at me?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Ew, you're dark and creepy."
No.
Like, yeah, I'm sure. And she's like, "No, I'm not mad. I just told you I wanted to call it quits because I was cold." But most people don't even make it 15 minutes, let alone an hour, let alone. I wonder how long it actually goes if he would let it.
So in the video that I watched, the girl went for about 6 hours.
Right.
And
Yikes.
it was 6
How did
hours
she
of
make
just
it?
like nonstop.
But isn't that like when you're starting to get into sadomasochism and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you think like that you just enjoy like being like tortured? Because he's like burned people too, right? Like fire
Yeah.
and elements are involved, right?
Yeah.
That's a no-go for me. I like
Freezers.
my eyelashes, so I'm good. I also like my brow.
Like sexual abuse too.
Yeah.
I think that
Oh,
there is some sort of it, but I mean, you know,
There's different like
levels.
focuses.
Right.
You know?
Yep. I don't know. Well, anyway, keep going. Anyway, that's dark. Let's get on a different topic. But it's really, and my point of talking about this is it's really interesting. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I guess the point of talking about it is seeing the Black Vault and having like actual case files and documents from the government to back up some of this stuff is like, wow, it really does exist. I didn't go deep into the UFO section, I'm going to be honest. I told Kat this. Kat, why didn't I go into the UFO section?
For which one?
All of them.
There were lots of different ones.
Because I told you I already believe.
Oh yeah, you don't want to go down that hole.
No.
No.
Well,
Yeah, no.
you know, once again, referring back to my friend that, you know, disappeared via Men in Black from the Air Force, I already believe. So I don't need I don't need proof. You know what I mean? Like,
They even have documents from Area 51.
right.
Which I kind of want to look at those. Not gonna
I
lie.
would too. I'm just not. I got so scared personally when Sean disappeared, and then I had his extra hard drive that seemed to like spontaneously combust after he went missing. And I told Kat asked me about it when we were talking about the Black Vault the other day. So just to catch up, I'm just gonna quickly say that my friend Sean was a airline pilot in the Air Force. He could take some sort of jet way up out of the atmosphere, and he had gotten a ton of GoPro footage of UFOs, like legit footage. And he had sent me a hard drive with all of the footage on it. And he had thought the Men in Black were, I've shared this story before, he thought the Men in Black were following him. And he had called me one day, told me he thought he was going to disappear, and he just wanted to let me know. And he ended up disappearing. The Air Force had like a makeshift funeral for him. I still had his extra hard drive. I still know he's not gone. I just know he's not dead. Like, I think they just moved him to, like, a private sector, and he had to, like, forget everyone in his life. Because he was very smart, too. Like, most Air Force are very smart. But I had his extra hard drive in my house, and literally, like, a day after he disappeared, the Mac hard drive, it was just a little hard drive, like a square. It literally was on my desk, and it combusted. It turned into a fireball. I freaked out, because I told Kat, like, of course I didn't have a freaking, like, who has a fire extinguisher at home? Not this girl. Like, I'm not carrying a fire extinguisher around, you know? So I told her I didn't know what to do, and I had to literally run in the bathroom with it, and I threw it in the toilet.
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know. Like, what would you do in that?
Right.
You know, like, clearly,
Anything that's
I don't want
gonna
my
put it
house
out.
to go down.
Right.
So go in the toilet, little hard drive, you know? So, but yeah, I tried to pull the files off of it. I did take it to an expert, and it didn't. So, but then, Kat, this also goes to, there's case files on human combustion.
Yeah, spontaneous combustion
Wow.
and
Which creeps me out. Does it creep you guys out?
That's
That's a topic we've never talked
I
about
don't-
before. We should do that topic. Will you write that down, like text it to
We
us?
should.
That's a good topic, but that creeps me out. But they do.
Yeah.
They have case files on spontaneous human combustion. I told Kat, I feel like that was what happened to the hard drive. It spontaneously combusted. Which, by the way, I've had Mac hard drives since then, and they've never exploded, might I add. But that was creepy. Okay, and then what else was there? There's so many things.
there are too many.
The Nazi thing. So
my
Kat
God,
was
yeah.
scared to bring this up because we don't want to get into politics, obviously. In my opinion, though, I will say I feel like Nazis are bad. That's just a personal opinion. I don't know about y'all. But anyway, so the Nazis were, quote, practicing black magic. And there's case files on it. And I talked to Blake about this because he was in the military. And he was just like, oh, yeah, everybody knows that. And I was like,
Yeah, I did
We
not.
did it.
where was I
I
then?
did not know that. We were only taught about the general things
Holocaust.
in school.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I was talking to Kat, like, it makes sense because all of those poor souls that were horribly, horribly just tortured in concentration camps, I feel like in order to not just murder a human being, but so many, you would have to be dark, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about just Hitler. He was obviously the leader, but I'm talking about, like, how many minions did he have that were, like, helping make this, like, occur? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it had to have been dark, but they have case files. Not only did they find, like, spells that were, like, black magic spells, but they also found, like, commodities. So meaning, like, shrines. They found items. They found human skulls that they would use for, like, their rituals and whatnot. And it actually made my stomach hurt. So I couldn't really get too far into that one because it was a little just too dark for me. Because I feel like anything surrounding the Holocaust is already just, like, morbid and just... I empath off of it because I get so sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was interesting topic, too.
Yeah.
What was your opinion on it, Kat, with the whole black magic involved?
It made sense. Honestly, it didn't surprise me. But yeah, it was weird. It was very strange. The other thing that I thought was strange was they talked about a satanic cult in one of the case files, and then they also talked about a cult regarding, like, intelligent life. So it was like a cult formed for aliens, and they found, like, 38 bodies. They all committed, like, mass suicide.
Oh, this was the
this
mass
cult.
suicide that happened, I think, in Texas in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And so there's
yeah.
case files on that. I can't remember what that one's called, if you guys remember.
I can't remember either, yeah.
But yeah, so they actually did investigate that, though. It's where, like 38 people from this, like, cult, it was, like, a man running the cult, and I think he was bald. And he said that, like, he was going to get on a ship for, like, Stargate or something, which is completely separate, obviously, from the other Stargate that we were talking about earlier. And he was saying that they had to drink cyanide, and that when they died, their souls would go on a alien ship to heaven.
Was that Jonestown?
I can't remember. It could have been.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in other words, though, they've investigated in these cults to see if there was actually connections to aliens.
Oh.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
So it's like almost like admitting like that yes, there could be something going on here. You know what I mean? They also one other one that I found, the Elisa Lam, I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
I think it's Eliza Lamb.
In the Cecil Hotel, which is in Los Angeles. I've done a couple of chats about the Cecil Hotel. She had what they believe. Oh, that's another good one. Let's talk about. Is it called the Chinese elevator game or the Korean elevator game?
Yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking about. I don't remember like the exact name. But
Text us that again, and we'll do a chat on that too. Because I feel like that's a good one. And kind of connected into Eliza Lamb. Anyway, she was in the Cecil Hotel, which was obviously very haunted. Richard Ramirez, the serial killer, stayed there. And he'd murdered like something like 13 or 15 women from within the Cecil Hotel. They would just disappear one by one. There were other serial killers that stayed there as well, though. But the Black Vault took the case files of the Eliza Lamb case. So basically, they think she was playing this elevator game that's a cultural game from, it's Asian culture. I'm not sure which one it is. And it's where you, like, specifically go up the elevator and down the elevator, like, a certain amount of times. And then I do know the last floor that you get to, someone is supposed to enter the elevator. They're going to talk to you. You have to do it alone, by the way, which on the video footage, she was alone.
She was.
And the video footage is out there. Her name is Eliza, Elisa space Lam, Lam. And she's on the video of the elevator, and she's hiding from something. But on the last floor, it's a paranormal game that you play. I think you have to be in a building that's at least 4 levels high, so 4 elevator floors high. The last floor, someone is supposed to get on with you. It's basically like a paranormal figure from a different realm. And it's going to like taunt you and try to talk to you. And you're not supposed to talk to him because if you talk to whoever it is, you die. And all of a sudden her body showed up a week later in the water tank. And the water tank hole was not opened by maintenance. They also had a camera up there. And they don't know how she got in because the hole was smaller than her body. So it was very like paranormal related. Long story short is the guy running the Black Vault had someone look into this case, and it was basically undetermined how she got her body in there.
Yeah.
They don't know how she got in there. And that creeped me out. Because this guy has like people investigating this stuff. You know what I mean? Like from a paranormal standpoint, and it was basically left undetermined how she got in there.
Jeez.
Because for like 3 weeks, right, Chanel, people were drinking the water and it was tasting funny, and it was because her body was in there.
19 days she was in there.
They were washing their face and like drinking the water and brushing their teeth, and she'd been dead in there for like 3 weeks.
Oh my god.
So,
I remember seeing that security footage on your channel.
Yeah, but I thought it was really cool that they included that too, which made me kind of sick because that was shocking.
There's also an interesting fact, and there's not much on it. It's still being looked into, but it is also claimed that there is a CIA government-run paranormal group.
Yes, I forgot to talk about that. Yes.
And I don't know what they would do.
Did you guys hear this? There's a CIA government-ran paranormal group. How do I apply? Does anyone know how I apply? I would no. I shouldn't wish for that. They're gonna come. Chanel's face is like no. They're going to come up to the door and be like, nope, I don't know who that is. I have no idea who that is. It's not me.
Yeah, it's very, very strange, but there are different, like, code names for each group to kind of, like, cover it up so they don't call it, like, a paranormal, government-run paranormal group, but in different, like, case files and such. So John is claiming to find the patterns and like figure out what's going on or what they're actually called or what their purpose is.
He's still trying to figure it out. He's still trying to find out who this is. But with that being said, I kind of like re-reference Men in Black, the movie with Will Smith, which is they are quote the Men in Black, but they're also investigating of paranormal cases.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the quote paranormal group is the Men in Black.
Maybe.
Or a branch of the Men in Black.
Good.
You know? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Wow. That's actually really interesting now. That's another dark hole to go down.
I know. Well, and that's the thing, too. If you go onto the Black Vault, there's a lot of holes that you can go down. And there's conspiracies on there, too, and like, which is kind of cool because some of them are still, like, left undetermined. Any sort of conspiracies, if there is case files on them, this John dude, he's gotten all of the documents.
But and what's interesting too, like, is it's safe to say that a lot of this is not conspiracy now.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Accurate.
Right.
Right.
It's history.
Well, and even him, like, taking the Eliza case, he went in and tried to figure out how she could have gotten in there. And also, there was supposed to be an alarm and locked to the door from, like, the very top level onto the roof. And they were supposed to be notified, like, if someone goes through that. And it didn't go off. Also, how would she have had a key to it? She wouldn't have.
Right.
There's no way if she was just staying there. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's very interesting that he was able to conclude, like, this is inconclusive. Like, we don't know how she got in there. There's no... It's nice, though, that where you, like... People, especially conspiracy theorists, like, don't sometimes put their trust in police or police, like, accurately doing an investigation. And to know that you have someone sort of on the back burner that's also doing, like, the investigation, not only from, like, a freelance side, but from, like, a paranormal standpoint, it's kind of cool to know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then you can confirm and be like, okay, it wasn't totally, like, swept under the rug like you may have thought it was, you know? What's another thing that stood out to you, Kat, that you saw?
Let me look. Oh, they had some cloning declassified documents up on the Black Vault, like success stories regarding cloning and all that stuff. So
I'm not shocked by that though, because Dolly, it was Dolly was the first lamb that was ever cloned, and also I heard recently there's I was reading a story. There is a lab that's either, I think it's in South Korea, or else it's Kuwait. It's one of the two. And the lab takes, I know it's going to sound weird, I'm not trying to gross anybody out. They take cells from, like, your dead animal. So you, like, send a swab in of, like, if your dog dies, they will clone your animal. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but I will say that Barbara Streisand has cloned her dog, and she has like 3 or 4 dogs that are cloned from her old dog that passed away.
What?
But she said that they all have very different personalities. Yeah, I'm dead serious.
What?
She sent the swabs in, but I think it was like $100,000 per dog.
Weird.
Wow.
So you have to have the money to be able to do it. I don't know how I feel about that either, because, like, I'm still devastated that Harley's gone. I don't know if I could get another one.
Yeah.
Because there isn't. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, there is
Even
only
if it
one
was
Harley.
cloned.
Yeah. But then again, you
that's
wonder if
creepy.
you go into, like, the paranormal aspect, if your dog knows you're cloning it, does he come back down from heaven and reincarnate?
Is
Should
he
we
gonna
keep
be
going down
pissed?
some dark holes? Because I feel like that's all we're good at right now. So I'm just saying, because I do believe in reincarnation. That's another chat. We should do a chat about reincarnation.
We should.
Text us again. I'm just giving all these ideas to Chanel.
Oh my god.
So, okay, so anyway, keep going.
That was pretty much, I mean, those were the ones we just talked about, were pretty much the only ones that really stuck out to me. I mean, but there's like 2 million files on there.
Right.
You know, like, and I think what's really, really great about John and reading through his discussion forums is he clearly states on the front page that he pretty much goes through everything and the things that people send him with a fine-tooth comb. So if it's a hoax or it's something that's not good, he said it will be clearly, like, you know, stamped on there that, you know, it's kind of not really confirmed or, you know, whatever. But it's very, very cool.
Right.
Y'all should go check it out. Somebody asked if the Dybbuk, what is it? Is the Diaries pass? Is it a black hole? I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
You can search it though. There's a search bar in the Black Vault, and their YouTube and their podcast, they constantly have guests talking about their experiences and such. So
Yeah, I want to listen to their podcast. Ours is up, by the way. I just don't know if it's made it to iTunes yet. I found out that we want to explain the process. Sometimes it's really complicated to get things uploaded.
It is, yeah. So iTunes is pretty much goes through everything that you submit. As like with the fine-tooth comb again. And if there's copyright issues or you know what I mean, like they'll listen to it and whatever and they'll send it back. So it can sometimes take up, you know, a couple weeks to get it out on iTunes, just iTunes. Amazon's fine, Spotify's fine, but iTunes is very specific when it comes to their copyright infringement and stuff.
And so our podcast is up through our host right now. I don't have the link, but if you go to the Ghost Girl Diaries Facebook page and a couple posts back, it is there. I am going to get like a custom link, but I'm kind of been waiting on Spotify and iTunes. I've heard the very first one you upload can be the worst because they're making sure there's no, once again, copyright infringement. So it can take a couple of weeks. So anyway, we have the podcast. It's active on our link, but I'm trying to work with them to get it up massively. So it will be eventually, but since it's so new, I'm asking for everybody to have patience with me at the moment. I also saw that you had links on the Black Vault for the Skinwalker cases.
Yes.
Skinwalker Ranch.
I'm looking down here right now. It's gonna be fine.
Actually, I'm gonna look too. I'm just gonna take Kat off for 1 minute so that I can kind of look in here. But I thought that was interesting because I've talked about the Skinwalker cases. Do you remember that, Chanel, from Ghost Adventures?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think Skinwalkers are real?
Yes.
Do you think they're like demonic things, or what do you think they are?
That's a good question. I don't know, because they always like just been something that when you talk about it, it's negative, like right off the bat.
Right.
Because there's always some sort of negative experience
Right.
with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I told you I talked to my one girlfriend who lives on the reservation, and her opinion of a skinwalker is, you know, she told me because I'm native, they're not supposed to share it unless you're native, which is why I assume. Do you remember Zach couldn't get the information out of them? And then basically she tells me, and then I publicly told everybody, and then I'm supposed to be cursed from that. And like the skinwalker is going to come get me because I've released the information on it or whatever. Which I'm like, come on, boo. Join the line. There's a line outside my house. But like it was supposed to be like it can be a demonic creature. It can be a creature that is all about balance. So like, you know, if you do something bad, expect it back threefold or whatever. Which I feel like that's almost universal law no matter what. It's like karma. I'm trying to find this information on. Did you find it, Kat?
Okay, I did, and I just had like a good squeal happy moment.
Okay,
because it actually talks about paranormal research.
Okay, I'm bringing you up. Okay, tell me about it.
Okay, so it says, I'm reading it off of Black Vault. It's in the document archives. It says, it is a mystery that stretches across about 1,000 acres of land. It was first reported on back of June of 1996. And since then, what we now know as Skinwalker Ranch has intrigued anyone interested in the paranormal. Cattle mutilations, UFOs, otherworldly creatures, the ranch seems to be a paranormal buffet for all things weird and unusual. Now, rumors circulate that even the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, took an interest in the ranch. And some even allege that it was the epicenter for government-backed paranormal research during a program known as AAWSAP. And he actually has, this is a podcast, so this is like a snippet just kind of talking about the podcast.
Right.
And he had a guest, his name is Chris Marks, M-A-R-X. And he was a former law enforcement officer in the state of New Mexico for about 9 years. And then he went on to join the U.S. Army and became a certified military police investigator. So he kind of talked about his experiences regarding the Skinwalker Ranch, looks like. So that was very interesting. I'll have to look that up. Government-backed paranormal research during a program known as AAWSAP.
That is
I'll have
weird.
to look that out. Yeah.
That is weird. There's also a lot of angel clips that I went through, which I liked. I like the angel clips of like people allegedly seeing like angels or something, which, I mean, I've seen some of those before and I love those because I just feel like they're feel good. Have you seen those videos where like they supposedly catch like an angel in the clouds or stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I love stuff like that just because even if it isn't true, it makes me feel like there's still some good left in the world. You know what I mean? Like, it is true. Anything else that you want to add, Chanel, with what you saw?
I was just going to ask or answer somebody's question right here.
Yep.
Are skinwalkers and Wendigos the same, just different names? So someone says that Wendigos are humans turned monster.
That's a mood.
Usually after consuming human flesh.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
No.
That's a no for me.
there's another theory that skinwalkers are like shamans that turn to the dark side.
Okay, I've heard
and
that.
Shapeshift.
Yep, I've heard that.
And then Wendigos can't change their shape.
Well, that
They
sucks.
just are.
That's a mood too.
Right.
I can't change my shape.
So I hope that answers your question, kind of.
But I feel like there's a lot of crypto characters that cross over into
Yeah.
like the same realm, you know? Like, you know,
There's
they say like the
probably
Yeti
similarities.
is the one that like lives up high in the mountains, and then like, you know, then you have like, what is it, the swamp ape, and like, but
Yeah.
really they're all the same thing,
Yeah.
you know? Like,
Swamp ape? I've never even heard of that one.
swamp ape is, I think it's like Louisiana / Florida-ish. And it's supposedly a swamp ape that stinks really bad because he lives in the swamp, and he like feeds on like alligators and crawfish, and if you come towards him, he'll like rip you apart into pieces. And
Oh, cute.
that's a mood.
You know, same old thing.
Same old, same.
That's what Brady felt like.
Pretty much. Mercury is the swamp ape. It's Mercury will swallow you whole. Like that's the mood.
With the swamp ape.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes. We should do that too. God, I'm full of so
Swamp
many
ape.
ideas
Oh
today.
my God.
Like, let's
I'm
just
on
keep it going. We're on like a roll. This is how we come up with ideas. Like, there's days where we're sitting there like quietly on the phone for hours, like trying to brainstorm together, and we just like hear each other breathing. We're like,
Yeah.
hmm.
For like an hour, we're like,
All right, are we done? What's going on here? Jeez. So, really cool thing. I'm actually really excited. I'm actually about to go onto social media. Like, so they have a Twitch, I'm assuming. They have an Instagram, probably. Facebook
Yeah,
page. I'm going to look up basically the Black Vault across all platforms and follow it. You said there's like a newsletter. I think I'm going to go ahead and subscribe to that too. I'm also going to find the podcast. I'm just excited about this because I feel like this is also very like updated information in the paranormal world that we may not be like staying on top of, the things that we don't hear about necessarily, because he's obtaining the documents.
yeah.
There's also been a lot of, I was once again just poking through the website last night. There's some things I feel like the media never really put out there. Do you agree with that statement, Kat?
Oh, God, yeah.
There's like obviously like hidden things, and even like a lot of stuff on cults that they've kind of kept under wraps. Like they don't want to like scare people, and I think they're trying to control it a little bit so that there isn't like a frenzy.
Right.
Which I feel like is the same reason they've been hiding like alien crafts and alien technology and aliens in general, is they're afraid of like most people having like a meltdown that outside life exists.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, generally...
Makes it worse.
Well, isn't it like humans? Like, there's 50% of humans that are generally good, and 50% of humans that are generally bad, or like evil. And I'm assuming that other intelligent life is probably the same. There's probably good intelligent life, and there's probably bad intelligent life. That's exactly what Sean used to say, though, from the Air Force. So, any other questions that you guys have before we wrap this up? I'm going through the comments right now. Oh, I've seen the Russian pass where 9 Russian campers died. I do remember that. One of them was left nude and she was missing her tongue. And there was video footage. They think it was a Yeti.
What?
Yeah, the Yeti like throws the camera. They don't really get it. They get like the heavy breathing. But yeah, they were like asleep in this Russian area. We'll have to talk about that too. The 9 Russian campers that died. But yeah, there was actually video footage that was left behind of that, but it was kind of left like unresolved. Because I mean, who wants to go? That's the one thing I don't get. Let's cover that topic really quickly, okay?
What?
I mean, I don't think like, have you seen the shows that are like the Monster Hunters?
Yes.
That were on like Destination America, and it's
Yeah.
like they're like, we're gonna go down, we're gonna get those monsters, we're gonna get them. Are you really like, what would you really do if you encountered like a swamp ape?
probably die.
Because I would probably like
Scream,
pee myself
cry,
and like just
run for my life.
right. And I am the dumb white blonde girl that falls and dies in the movie. That's me because I'm completely uncoordinated. So I would be the dumb blonde girl dying immediately. I'd be like, just take me now. Like that's why I don't hunt those. But my question is when these people are going through hunting these, do you really think that they would like kill them and shoot them or like?
I think that there are people that are dense enough to try that.
Right.
You
Or
know?
on the opposite side, you know, they go in with like their guns a-blazing or whatever. What if they're not even like intimidating like people have made them out to be?
What if they're
Yeah.
cute and cuddly?
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, so Blake studied anthropology like majorly. He's really into anthropology. And so he's had some really great anthropology teachers that have like their PhD.
Bless you.
Bless you. Which is like their doctorate in anthropology. They absolutely think that Bigfoot exists.
I do too.
They believe that humans are the bonobo, and then the gorillas are our swamp babe / yeti. And that's gorillas live in very small packs or alone, where bonobos are like they make militaries and they live together like how like humans do. So anthropology people or doctorates of anthropology really believe it does exist, and they're like the gorilla to our bonobo type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So anyway, that's just and if you talk to an anthropology teacher, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, they exist. They're somewhere out there floating around. I'm not shocked by it." But it's so weird how everyone else is like, "No, the Yeti doesn't exist."
There's a theory though too surrounding Bigfoot, and we can go into this topic later down the road if we want to. But that Bigfoots, I don't really know what the plural,
Bigfoot,
like multiple of them,
big feet,
right? Big feet, I guess.
Well, yeah, what is a pack of Yetis called? The Yeti? It is the Yeti.
They say that the Bigfoots
The big feet.
are
A pack of
actually
big feet.
interdimensional beings.
That could be too. I've heard that too.
So, yeah.
I believe that with even like the chupacabra, they claim it's like a pet of the alien
Yeah.
or a alien, and the reason they come down and they're quote bloodsuckers is because they remove the blood, however their virtual way to do it, and then they beam them back up, Scotty, and they use the blood for like analyzation.
Yeah.
I've heard that theory, which I believe that theory, honestly. I think that's kind of a cool theory. I don't think a chupacabra is a dog with like rabies or whatever that they've seen where it's like a coyote that loses their hair. Like that's not my personal vision of a chupacabra.
Yeah.
I also believe Mothman exists. How do you guys feel about Mothman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
There's some pretty credible evidence out there.
I love the Mothman theories. Like when we're filming, whoops, I should have said that. When we might be filming in the future, I hope that we get to go to the East Coast to see the Mothman Museum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Because I love that stuff. Like I love Mothman. Okay, if I missed any more questions, because I'm not paying attention now that I've been talking about it. Could be aliens or military that was nearby. I'm not sure what that. We must have missed that topic from Nikita. Dr. Jeff Meldrum says Bigfoot is legit. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked about that. Do I want to see a Bigfoot? Not really. I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm not a crypto hunter. I would go investigate the Mothman because they say he's living in those like little huts from like it was like a soldier training area or something. But then again, like it scares me to like run into like a mentally unstable like homeless person or something that's living in them. You know what I mean? I'm not a survivalist. I'm gonna be real. My idea of camping is a freaking hotel in
Glamping.
I don't know.
Bora
I would
Bora.
go on a Bigfoot hunt.
I know you would.
Shall we?
I think Kat would too because Kat's a hiker. I'm just not into that. You know what I mean? I'll walk you guys from the safe home base where I have 6
I'd be
guards
like, hey,
around
can
me.
you bring me like a cheese?
A cheese sandwich? You want a cheese sandwich?
What?
That's
a grilled cheese.
You want a grilled cheese while you're looking for Mothman?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, Chanel. You know, I'll
Keep
make
my
sure we
energy
have
up.
those on back. My God,
Oh
you're
gosh.
ridiculous. Oh my God.
That's
Okay,
funny.
any other questions we missed? We've had a spike of
The
Bigfoot
giants?
sightings. I've heard that before. Mothman sightings the last 6 years in Chicago area too. I've heard that he kind of moves around. He usually shows himself before like super major tragedies. I bet there's something about him on Black Vault, but I didn't look that up.
I bet.
Because the Black Vault literally has everything.
Literally everything.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
that really concludes our chat. Do you guys have anything to add to it?
No.
Other than
Touched on
don't be
some
like
stuff.
Chanel and go on the Black Vault and go into a dark hole, because
Don't go in dark hole.
she's like, Krystal, how am I supposed to memorize all of this? And I was like,
You don't.
I don't think you're gonna, boo. Like, there's so much information in there.
I had to stop myself. I called Krystal and I was like going through all this information. I was like, I need to stop, so I'm calling you to force myself to stop.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those sites where you can kind of just keep going and get lost. And even when I was on there, it was like, oh, we go this route, and then that leads to this route, and then it goes here. It's like a YouTube hole when you're like on YouTube watching videos about conspiracies, and all of a sudden you're like, I have to walk away because I think my brain just exploded. Like, literally. It takes that one bad conspiracy video where you're like, I'm done. I'm walking away. It's like too far in left field. Like, I can't anymore. Like, get a grip on your life, Krystal. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we will be back on Monday for our Dead Time chat, which is regarding, obviously tonight is Ghost Adventures. Tonight is Destination Fear. Let's hope that Ghost Adventures doesn't have another Richard on there to kind of keep us together, you know what I'm saying?
Good Lord.
I'm more excited to see Destination Fear though. Like, I'm really pulling for like Dakota. I just don't want to see any more poo-poo soup. But other than that, I'm excited.
I'm still disturbed by that.
I know. That image will never get out of my brain. Like, literally ever. So thank you guys so much for being here with us. Saturdays, obviously. I know that like last weekend we had a late stream, and then this weekend it's early. We're just going to be bouncing around a little bit until we kind of like get back on track, if that's okay with everyone. Obviously, my mom was also in the hospital unexpectedly this week. She is still in the hospital. Shout out to all my fans for the amazing energy that you've been giving for my mom and wonderful messages. I appreciate you guys so much. She is doing well, but she's unfortunately not going to be coming home until next week, which is why we had to play catch up on our booze and reviews. Next week we'll be doing the Tom DeLonge Alien show. I'm so excited for that.
I'm excited too.
I can't wait for that one because I haven't seen it at all. I've like forced myself not to watch it for the booze and reviews.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll watch one of those episodes, and then the Haunted Huddle. What are we doing next week? Does anybody remember? Because I feel like I don't. We're not that far ahead. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to take a minute to get back on track here. But we have some awesome topics coming up, especially Krampus is coming. Krampus season's here.
Krampus is almost here.
Krampus is coming to kidnap you in the middle of the night. Yay! He won't give me a hug, man. I was really sad about that.
That was really sad.
It's really
That
bad.
was hilarious, actually.
It's pretty bad when Krystal scares Krampus.
She runs towards him with an arm.
And Krampus is like, dipping out. I can't do this. This girl is weird. I'm like, you have no idea. You have no idea.
And he booked it.
He
Like,
did.
Come on.
It hurt my feelings. I just wanted to hug Krampus, you know? I was hoping for a picture. It just didn't work.
Dead. Alright, I'm pulling up the schedule now.
Oh, are you?
Take a
Okay.
peek.
So next Saturday, our Haunted Huddle will be probably Krampus. It's after Thanksgiving. Oh my God, Thanksgiving's next week.
Oh my gosh, it's next week.
We're going to have a orphan Thanksgiving, which I'm excited for, aren't you?
Yes.
Aren't you excited?
Yes.
I'm excited for the orphan Thanksgiving.
It's not what I thought you were gonna say.
What did you think I was going to say?
I'm not gonna say it on live.
Okay, let's not say it live then.
It's
Okay, it is. Wait, hang on a second.
It's fine.
Okay, we are on Black Vault,
Yes, we are.
and then Dead Time, and then yours. It is Krampus Scary Stories, actually.
Yeah.
So just look at it.
That's
Look
going to
at
be
that.
a good one.
So, good call.
Yeah, Krampus Scary Stories, which I love. It reminds me of, it's very like Sabrina, what's the dark one on Netflix called?
Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we should talk about like the Yule log with that and all that stuff.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The Yule log of why you light the fire so that little demonic children don't come down your roof. That's a mood. That's a mood. Just accidentally set your house on fire. Everything's fine. I live in Vegas, so I have a fake fireplace. Does that work? There's no chimney.
It works. It
You
works.
know what? I have to move the fireplace. It's usually like just stored on the side, but for Christmas I pull out the fake fireplace. You know what I'm
Or you
saying?
can use the fire pit.
That's true. But then
Yeah.
we might actually set something on fire.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
You never know.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love you guys. We're so glad to be back. Just sit tight with us while we keep our little schedule rolling here. It's going really good. We will have obviously a booze and reviews the day before Thanksgiving, so that'll be kind of fun. We are going to be taking Christmas Day off, though, is supposed to be a stream, so we will be off that day. But other than that, we're back. Here we are.
We're back.
We are back. And Kat and Chanel, you guys are setting up your Twitch and YouTube channels as we speak. Is that right?
Yes, we
Yes.
are.
Yes, I'm so excited. Thank you guys for everything. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you follow us on our social media pages. And as always, we will catch you guys next time. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.